What's going on, everybody? It's Friday, and welcome to the Raptors Happy Hour. What a great way to wrap up the week. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Workday is just finishing for many people who would be watching this stream live. And hey, you could be watching this after the fact. Maybe it's Friday night, maybe it's the weekend, whatever it is. The work week is over. And let's celebrate by talking a little bit of Raptors, a little bit of NBA as a whole, and a little bit of fun stuff near the end of the stream today. I mean, in Friday Happy Hour, what could go wrong? Like I said, the vibes are immaculate. The work week is over. Everyone out there is in a good mood, ready to attack the weekend. Everything's flowing nicely. That is the beauty of the Friday Happy Hour. There is really not much like it. Not much like it at all. Let's jump into things here today. So as you saw from the title for today's stream, the Raptors are getting slept on by American media. Again, we're going to be talking about what I believe to be some extremely disrespectful rankings for the Raptors that I saw for this offseason as we go into the new season. I'm not very happy about what I saw there. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to look at the entire rankings for the NBA, talk a little bit about how we think the rest of the league is going to do this season. And in the end, I have a fun tier list. Nothing serious, nothing specific to the Raptors necessarily, but NBA related. We'll get to that near the end of the stream. Before we get started, if you guys are watching live or wherever you're watching, it does make a big difference to the channel on this new journey. Doing these more predominant live stream sort of content does mean a lot if you guys could hit that like button. Also make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're going to be going into a brand new season very, very soon. Hope to have you along with me for these streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then also watch-alongs for as many Raptors games that I can do. If I'm free, I'm streaming Raptors. And when I'm not free, I'm trying to stream Raptors. Sometimes maybe I can't, but I'm going to be doing my best to make sure I'm streaming as many Raptors games as possible. So again, give your support to the channel. And also, why not check out the merch? We've got hats just like this one. We've got shirts as well. I'm not wearing the shirt today. I think I wore it on Monday. We got hats in white and black. We got shirts. We got stickers as well. Stickers, you get 3 stickers for $6. I think it's a great deal. The Canada Post strike doesn't matter. I don't ship through Canada Post, so get yourself some merch and support the channel. That's the best way to give back to the channel, and you get some cool stuff in return. All right, guys, how are we all doing? If you're in the chat, let me know how you're feeling ahead of the weekend. We have Justin James joining us saying, I'm watching during. What's up? Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Very happy Friday to everyone watching, unless, of course, you're watching in a different continent. And it might be Saturday morning, like for Tom Graham joining the chat. He says, looking forward to the season kicking off. Had the Pelicans come to town last night. Was good to see some goose, some goes. What is that? Like, whatever it is, I did see the New Orleans Pelicans played against, I think it was Melbourne. And the Pelicans won by 10. I actually didn't check the spread. They played Melbourne United. Yes. I did not see the spread, but I have to think Melbourne covered the spread there. 107.97. Is there some now I'm curious. Let me see if let me just quickly look at the score has the lineup for it, because sometimes they will have the lineup for it. It's a bug in here. Let's see. 1 by 10 betting. Yeah, no data available. Oh well. I can't imagine the spread was about 10. I mean, I know the Pelicans are resting players, but still. But yeah, it was good to see some hoops. Tom, I don't know if you're at the game, but that'd be a cool game to go to, seeing an NBA team playing in Australia. And we also have Rich joining us in the chat saying, looking forward to open practice. Yes, I'm just looking forward to all the Raptors content we're going to get. We're going to be covering it here all on the channel. I'm just excited to bring it to you guys. But get your questions in the chat. I reply to pretty much all of them. And I'll just promote the discussion as we go through the next hour or so. Fire says, looking forward to seeing the Raps play the Nuggets on the 7th. Yes, NBA Raptors preseason is about to get started. Let's take a look at the Raptors schedule. That game, I don't believe it's on the 7th. It's on the 6th, actually. Raptors play the Nuggets on the 6th of October, Monday. I might be able to stream for that one. I definitely can't stream the Wednesday game because I play soccer on Wednesday nights. I will be streaming Friday, October 10th as the Raptors play the Boston Celtics. Sunday, October 12th is Thanksgiving, so I will not be available for that one. Wednesday, October 15th, again, that's a Wednesday. I play soccer Wednesdays. And Friday, October 17th, that should do fine, 7 p.m. Eastern. So, okay, I'll make sure I can do this first Nuggets game because I'm going to be I have to miss 3. So I'll make sure I do the other 3. I'll try to make sure I do the other 3 so I at least get half of the games in for this stream. But I can't do them all. Wednesdays are the bogey day for the time being, at least. I did unfortunately play our other Melbourne team Sunday. I did not know there were 2 Melbourne teams in the NBL. But, hey, if you're making the trip all the way to Australia, that's good. I mean, I don't really understand why the Pelicans even go to, or why any team goes to Australia to play preseason games. Like, is it part of, like, the NBA's incentive to, like, or, like, promoting the game globally? Is that part of it? If so, like, listen, I'm sure Australia is a great country. I'd love to visit it one day, but I don't imagine NBA players are thrilled about making, like, a 16-hour flight. How long is the flight from New Orleans to Australia? Or Melbourne, because Australia is big. To Melbourne. 21 hours. So again, I'm sure it's a lovely country to visit, but I don't imagine NBA players are thrilled with a 21-hour plane ride. Now, their plane ride is not like yours and my plane ride. You know, we're crammed into coach. You know, we got maybe we're in the middle of 2 people. We got a little screen in front of us to keep us entertained. We're very confined. Now, the NBA flights are not like that. They are much more luxurious and spacious. But still, I can't imagine anyone wants to be on a plane for 21 hours. Anyways, I guess it's part of the incentive to glow the game globally, which I guess is good to see as well. For me, it's 7 due to time zone. Okay, well, makes sense. The game for you is on the 7th. For me, it's Monday at 10 p.m. Awesome. So we're up till 1 a.m. watching preseason basketball. Great. And then I guess you're doing it again on Wednesday. You know what? To be fair, I've got to take this in. The first game is in Vancouver, so it makes sense. It's on West Coast time zone. Second game's in Sacramento, which is West Coast time zone as well. I think the Stars will get to see a few minutes on the court for the first preseason game. Yeah, I would sincerely hope so. As far as I am aware, the Raptors are not entering preseason with any existing injuries. Oh, I did not put the chat in here. Let me do that. I don't believe the Raptors are entering with any pre-existing injuries, so I don't see why they should be not playing. Like, they should all start. The starters should start. They should get some game time together. Like, that should be something that we're working on, building the chemistry that is there together. To do with the next Stars program, whatever it is. I mean, I guess it's cool for the people who get to see them in Australia, and for Melbourne players to play against NBA players, test their skills. I live in Europe. The games are so late for me. That is dedication, Fire. I remember I was in Europe for 2 weeks 3 years ago during the Raptors season, and I tried the first couple games that were on. I tried to watch Raptors while I was there. It was just impossible. Like, with the amount I was doing because I was on vacation, it just became impossible to actually watch the game. So I have a lot of respect for anybody in Europe who's dedicated to following an NBA team. I'm especially an East Coast team. Because, like, at least a West Coast team, if you're like 6 hours away, for example, or 9 hours away, I guess, because it's a West Coast team, they'd be playing at 7 p.m. local time, and you'd be getting their game at 5 a.m. I mean, at least that's more doable. You know, you wake up super early, like, that's fine. But, like, for the Raptors. Like if you live in England, you're a Raptors fan. That's you're up at well, it's at midnight. I guess it's actually not horrific, but it's midnight. You're up to like 2:30 watching basketball. That's crazy. So anyone that does it, I commend you. I saw Yak with a face mask. Well, like I guess it could keep him out of preseason games, but I hope we should get to see them together. Nuggets game will be at 3 a.m. So you're on the England time zone. I don't know if you're in England, but that time zone. So okay, 3 a.m. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. Hey, I got a lot of respect for you doing that, and glad to have you in the stream today because it's a late one, Friday night, wherever you are, 10, 11 p.m. All right. Keep on bringing in the questions, but let's dive into what I was here to specifically talk about with you guys today. Let me just pull it up. That first BI mid-range shot can hit like crack from Spartan Thorn. Yeah, it will. It really is. Just like they're in season. I think we are away from home in our first game. No, yeah, we're in Atlanta. That first BI mid-range jumper at home this season gonna have the crowd going crazy. Like as much as there's always like online how people feel about the Raptors, it can vary. When people are at the arena, they are absolutely bought into the team. It is going to be hype when the Raptors are in town for their second game of the season against the Milwaukee Bucks. But anyways, I'm not sure about Ulrich, actually. All right. As I said, let's jump into what I wanted to discuss for today. I've got some unfortunate news rolling out from a major North American media outlet about how they perceive the Raptors going into the upcoming season. It is not looking good based on these power rankings. The article in question, of course, comes from Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report. I've talked a lot about Bleacher Report on this channel over the years. I've featured on Bleacher Report periodically over the years, talking about the Raptors, trying to spread the good word of the Raptors, because not a lot of people involved with Bleacher Report do that, and that reigns true for their most recent NBA power rankings for the 2025 season. So I'm kind of expecting the Raptors, like, going into this. I know where they are, but I would have been expecting them to be, and knowing there is this maybe a slight bias against them, I was expecting them to be like 20 to 22 in the power rankings. I'd probably put them a touch higher, but I would expect them to be placed around like 22, which I think is too low. It's even lower than that, actually. It's even lower than that. We have the Jazz at 30, the Nets at 29, the Wizards at 28, the Hornets at 27, the Phoenix Suns at 26, and the Raptors at 25. And yeah, they've got the Pelicans in front of them. They got the Blazers in front of them. They've got the Sixers in front of them. Maybe the Sixers make sense. But 25th for the Raptors. They show their record of 30 and 52 from last season. Let me know in the chat what you think about this position of 25, because I certainly believe this is some egregious positioning. The Raptors enter a 25-26 campaign with a decent amount of talent, but the puzzle pieces form far from a seamless fit. That is partially true. Lists all the players and says none of them command a ton of respect as three-point shooters. Okay, other than quickly, of course. Let's four on the floor with Pirtle, which figures to be fairly common lineups. Defenses might be able to pack the paint and live with whatever happens outside. That's also true. I'm not denying that. And then it talks about some of the people coming off the bench. I don't understand this last sentence here. It says, but even that probably won't push this team much higher than the play-in. Okay, great. So basically you're saying play-in is pretty much what this team is going to be, yet you have them listed at 25th, which of course would be outside of the play-in tournament positions. You'd have to be a theoretical top 20 team in the NBA to be involved in the play-in tournament, because it is a top 10 teams in each conferences. And they also list specifically championship odds for these teams within the article, and they have the Raptors at plus 15,000, which is ahead of the 50,000 for the Pelicans and the Portland Trailblazers, who are at 75,000. Much higher than those two. Not higher than the Sixers. Way higher than the Bulls, who are at 21. Okay, not quite as high as the Pacers. They higher than here? No. So, based on the odds projections there, which at this point, a week away from preseason, are fairly efficient and fairly accurate, the Raptors should be higher at the positioning. But, like, we can ignore the betting part of it. We can ignore the championship odds. We're not going to ignore the regular season win projections, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But just, like, on the surface, we're talking about a team that has highly skilled players like Brandon Ingram, who I think has a fair chance to be an all-star this season. Scotty Barnes, who has been an all-star previously, he plays really well this year. He could be a player who gets into an all-star team. You've got players like Manuel Quickly, who's talented, even though he was left out of the ESPN's NBA Top 100 Players list. RJ Barrett still has some skill. Jakob Poeltl is a fantastic starting big man in the NBA, and I think he's underrated. Like, there is talent here. Certainly more than what the New Orleans Pelicans can offer. Certainly more than what the Portland Trailblazers, maybe not certainly, but I think more than what the Portland Trailblazers can offer. And I think it's absolutely more than what the Chicago Bulls can offer. There is obviously a lot of questions surrounding the fit with this Raptors team, and I think it's fair to talk about that and discuss that from a power ranking standpoint. But, like, we're in the conversations around the Suns and the Hornets, that and the Pelicans. That is just far too low for this Raptors team. Despite their difficulties when it comes to fit, there is enough talent that should be able to push this team ahead. And even if, like, we want to reference, like, again, the betting markets here, these betting markets at this point have been up for a very long time. These betting markets at this point have had sharp bettors shape these lines to more accurate levels. The Raptors opened up at between 32 and 34 wins, and they have been bet all the way up to 38.5, 39.5 wins, depending on where you're going to be betting and where you're going to be looking. So there is like a certain element of confidence that the Raptors are better than what has previously been suggested, first of all. But again, let's use these betting lines, again, shaped by bettors, not the sportsbook, shaped by bettors who sportsbooks trust with this information. That's how it works. I work in the industry. That's how it works. We can just look specifically at how many teams are projected to win less games than the Raptors to help us along here. So we have the Brooklyn Nets, the Charlotte Hornets, the Chicago Bulls, a bit of a gap here, the Indiana Pacers. I think Miami is equal, so we'll keep that in. We'll keep that in the back pocket. So that's 4. The Pelicans far under. That's 5. The Phoenix Suns are 6. The Portland Trailblazers are 7. The Sacramento Kings are 8. The Utah Jazz are 9. The Washington Wizards are 10. 10 teams who are projected to win less games than the Raptors. And the Raptors are 39.5 on this website, which is BetOnline, which is a sharp sports book. They actually have them above the Miami Heat, who I think were at 38.5. So we have the Raptors sitting at 39.5 wins on their win total projection, shaded towards the under a little bit. But there are 11 teams, specifically with BetOnline, who is a trusted source of information when it comes to things like this. There are 11 teams lower than the Raptors on this list, which should give them a positioning of 19 on this list. And even if you do want to kind of factor in, okay, well, their win projection is a little bit higher than other teams because they're playing in the Eastern Conference, and teams that are maybe similar in ability to them, like the Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trailblazers, are a little bit lower than them because they're playing the Western Conference. Playing Western Conference teams more often. The Western Conference is more competitive than the Eastern Conference by a fair margin going into the upcoming season. Even with that being said, I think the absolute lowest this team should be is in the 21 range. And if you are going to be betting on the Raptors, I would say get something that's 38.5 or higher, because the lines are pretty shaped. If you do really want to bet, like you're watching this thing, and 39.5, I think you're winning 40 plus games. There is 38.5 available at the time of recording. I would recommend going to find that. I saw it at Bet365, minus 110 for the 38.5. I'd recommend betting it there. But again, this has been bet up. Like, I saw this at 34.5, and it just kept going up. There was confidence in this Raptors team. There's confidence that there was enough talent here. And also, something to consider is there was enough confidence that this team is going to forego tanking when it comes to the end of the season this year. And perhaps this team is going to add on to itself as we go through the season. Bobby Webster in his media availability ahead of Media Day said specifically there is like, I think he specifically said there is a 0% chance that this team remains the same throughout the season. They're going to be looking to make moves. Those moves likely will be looking to fix some of the fit issues that we've discussed here and that was discussed in this article. 25 is just too low and really does unfortunately showcase somebody that doesn't have quite enough ball knowledge to be putting together a list like this. I don't know if this was a specific person who works for Bleacher Report. I don't want to necessarily out them, but that's just too low. That's just flat out too low at 25th on this one. Why do they assume BI can't shoot threes? Like, he's averaged 36% above for some years now. That comes from Spartan in the chat. So the thing about three-point shooting is it's often overrated a little bit by percentages. Like let's say we take, for example, let's pull up. This is an example I like to use because when the Raptors lost this player, he was compared to the player they replaced him with and compared to three-point percentages. So so this is a good example I like to use. So we have Dennis Schroeder, first of all. And the year before he signed with the Raptors, he played for the Los Angeles Lakers, where he shot 33% from three. In fact, in his time with the Raptors, he shot 35% from three. Now, if we go to a player like, for example, Now we go to a player like, for example, Fred VanVleet, who was the player that was directly replaced by Dennis Schroeder. We saw in his final season with the Raptors before he was replaced by Dennis Schroeder, he shot 34% from three. So you have Fred VanVleet shooting 34% from three, and then he gets replaced by a player who shot 33% from three, and he was way cheaper. So the discussions around it were, well, that's not that big of a drop-off, but it fails to consider the volume. It fails to consider the amount of threes that they are taking, first of all, because if you go to Dennis Schroeder, that season with the Lakers, he took 3.4 three-point attempts per game and shot 33%. Fred VanVleet, when he shot 34%, took 8.8 three-point attempts per game. A lot more than double that of Dennis Schroeder. Also, what the percentages fail to consider is how open they are. Fred VanVleet, his openness is a lot less than Dennis Schroeder. Teams are generally pretty content with Dennis Schroeder taking a three, aren't going to really aggressively close him out. Fred VanVleet, he's getting hunted on the perimeter. They're making sure that shot doesn't go up to begin with. If it does go up, there is a heavy contest there because they know how good of a shooter he is. So how this spins back to Brandon Ingram, and I do agree Brandon Ingram isn't quite given enough three-point shooting credit as he should. I think he's a bit of a better shooter that he's given credit for. For Brandon Ingram, he's never been a guy who's taken that much high-volume three-point attempts. This is Brandon Ingram's numbers here. Typically, he's been under 4 three-point attempts per game. In his last more full season, he took 3.8 attempts per game and shot 35% from there. Over his career, he shot 3.8 attempts per game, 3.8, and 36% from three. Last season, there was some promise. I know it was only 18 games, but he upped his volume to 6.4 threes a game and shot 37% from there. So if we see more statistics like that, that's going to make Brandon Ingram a lot more deadly for the Raptors. And I think we are going to see, just because of lack of spacing here, they are going to ask for Brandon Ingram to shoot more threes. Hopefully he can keep those percentages up. But teams generally are more fearful of what Brandon Ingram is doing in the mid-range, which is why he's not considered as much of a floor spacer. But I do agree there is some disrespect towards Brandon Ingram as a three-point shooter. I just kind of wanted to highlight why sometimes the statistics around three-point shooting can be a little bit misleading. Raps got a decent backup for Mamuk, so he does. Yes, indeed. I agree with you, Fire. That's kind of big, too, for lineups. I mean, that's going to help with their lineups as well with spacing. Maybe we can see some double big lineups. That was really coming into fashion near the end of last season. That's an interesting player to throw in the mix. But, to kind of finish off the segment here, Alamdar brings this up. Raptors were at 30 wins without Ingram and half of our starters out. The Raptors purposely lost games. The Raptors dealt with a lot of injuries. They pretty much kept the exact same team that had 30 wins last year and all that other baggage and have just injected Brandon Ingram into it. I think they're a lot better than 25th ranked, as discussed in that power ranking. Yeah, I'd certainly say so. But yeah, good point. It's the same team plus Ingram, and that team was trying to lose games and had a shit ton of injuries. Now injuries can happen again, but again, it's just a lot to consider there. Do you think we trade RJ midseason or Ochai Agbaji? So currently the Raptors sit above the threshold for the luxury tax. The Raptors at this current point, as of today, are a team that would have to pay luxury tax. And I say they would have to pay luxury tax because the luxury tax implications don't come in until later on in the season. Specifically, I don't know exactly when it is, but I'm pretty sure it's after the trade deadline. So the Raptors, listen, I know I just kind of gassed them up in relation to the 25th ranked on the power rankings list. The Raptors might be able to make the playoffs. I don't think they're a threat to win a championship. Let's be honest with ourselves here. This is not a team that is good enough to justify paying the luxury tax. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but this is probably not a team, again, that is going to be winning enough games to be a championship contender. That is not a team that I described there. That would not be a team that you pay luxury tax for. Like, luxury tax is typically reserved for teams who are contenders and teams who think they're contenders when they're not. Like, kind of like the Golden State Warriors, for example, this season. Here's the current status of contracts with the Toronto Raptors. So obviously we know that they're keen on trading RJ Barrett and are going to be actively shopping him throughout the season leading up to the trade deadline. But other than that, there's not a real clear player that you'd look at their contract and say, like, this is the guy they should trade to duck under the tax, other than Ochai Agbaji. You're obviously not going to move Barnes, Ingram, quickly, Pirtle. You're not going to move your rookie, Colin Murray Boyles. You probably don't want to trade Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter yet because you want to see them develop more. I don't think AJ Lawson quite does it. But Ochai Agbaji is an interesting one here because he's making $6.3 million this season. That is the last year of his rookie contract, so he's going to be in line for an extension next season. I think he's outplaying this figure. I think he's a little bit underrated as well. But the issue for Agbaji is we can't really afford him after this season. We can't really afford to give him that raise at the end of the season if the Raptors want to resign him, which is a shame because I think he's a good player and he does add to our floor spacing, which we don't have a lot of. He does make our defense better, and I don't think we have like a ton of really good defenders. So essentially, the easiest way and the most simple player to trade to duck under the tax is Ochai Agbaji, which is why he's very, very likely, in my opinion, to get traded at some point over the course of the season. So Ochai, I think, is likely. RJ is just, as much as they're going to be shopping RJ Barrett, I just don't really think there's a lot of great trades out there for him. But you got to remember, he's got 2 years left on his contract. You don't really want to be going into next season with RJ on the books, knowing he's a free agent, then wondering what you're going to do with that. Especially like he was one of the players you got for OG Anunoby. It'd be a real shame if one of those players walked for nothing. So they're probably thinking about that, and they might just see what they can get this season. I agree that your rep as a shooter, your respect as a shooter, has a huge impact as well. But Dennis was always known for in his shooter. But Bi is a rep that can shoot. Just doesn't take a lot, so they would still cover. Yeah, no, I'm not sorry. I wasn't necessarily comparing Brandon Ingram to Dennis Schroeder. I was more so giving an example of why 3-point statistics can be misleading. I'm not saying Brandon Ingram's as bad as Dennis Schroeder from 3. I'm just saying it's easy to misrepresent a player just purely by their 3-point percentage. But in the case of Brandon Ingram, I'm just really intrigued by that 18 game sample. I don't want to go overboard because it is just a very small sample size of 18 games. But in those 18 games, he was shooting 2.6 threes per game more than what he did over the course of his career up until that point, and he was knocking them down more efficiently. I think if you're upgrading your volume of threes, you're even fine to regress a little bit. And I know it was just 18 games, but it is promising that for that sample, he was upping the volume and he was still maintaining that level of consistency in terms of his efficiency. In fact, he was exceeding it. And I think he's going to have to do the same, and he's going to be asked to do the same for the Raptors. And we need him to get that respect out there to help space the floor for other people. Tom Graham says, do you think if the team has won a heap of games at deadline, they are forced to, they go into the luxury tax? That's a good question, actually. And if I could reframe it, how good would the Raptors have to be for them to think, you know what, let's just go into the luxury tax? So I think for this question, you kind of have to look at it like this as well. If they're a top 4 seed, how much of that is because of Ochai Agbaji? If it's very little, they probably still just feel comfortable to duck under the tax and say, we don't really need Agbaji, so we move him. It would have to be like if Ochai Agbaji has just become this absolutely lethal 3-point shooter. He's improved tremendously there. He's improved a lot as a defender, and it's just like too important of a player to trade. Then you'd probably have some serious conversations about going to the tax. But then also at that point, if Ochai Agbaji is playing well enough to justify keeping him, you're probably having conversations about whether or not RJ Barrett is necessary on the roster. So there's a lot of variables. It would depend largely on how well the tradable players are playing. So if RJ Barrett's playing really well and Agbaji's playing really well and they're top 4 seed, they might feel slightly inclined to keep going to the luxury tax. I still think even at that point, they will try to duck the tax in another way. So how good would they have to be? I think they'd have to be like a top 3 seed threatening the 1 seed. I think or at least like threatening a top 2 seed, at least in the conversation. Maybe like if they're 4th and, you know, they're within 2 games of 2nd or something, maybe they do feel like it. But even then, I'm not confident in MLSE. Like, we're talking about Rodgers has majority ownership now. We're talking about a very cheap. We're talking about a group that wants to run these franchises like the Raptors as cheaply as possible. So I could still see them going, you know what, we're probably still not that big of a threat towards a championship. Let's still duck under the tax, and maybe we'll make a run at things next year. But cheap organization, I'm not sure. Well, I guess we'll see the extent of the cheapness. We've seen it already with Masai getting fired. That was seemingly a purely financial decision, but they'd have to be really, really good to not duck the tax. And I just I don't think they're going to do it. So I think it's RJ, man. We have too much money dedicated to our starting 5. We need to balance our roster. RJ's a good player, but he makes even more sense to trade than Agbaji. Rich, I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but who wants him? Who is going to be like mid-season wanting to add RJ Barrett's $27 million and $29 million next season and maybe walking free agency? Who really wants to add that this season. I feel like it's going to cost the Raptors something to trade him. Like, it's going to cost an asset to trade him. I'm with you. I mean, I am with you. I agree it's right to move off RJ Barrett, but I also don't think you just want to move off him for nothing, because at the end of the day, he is still a good player, and if you want to make the playoffs, he helps you do that. It's complex. I want to trade him. I don't want to get that much worse by trading him, but I also don't want him to lose him for nothing, and I don't really want the books for next year either. It's a tough spot. It's a tough situation for the Raptors to be in right now. Rich said, I traded RJ for a backup center and a shot creator and a playmaker who can play off the bench. Well, I mean, if you get one of those things, it'd be great. You can't have all. You're not getting all of that. I'm with you to get like more higher end bench depth. Again, I'm agreeing. It's just, what's out there in that category. Is it Malik Monk? Maybe, but is Malik Monk like that much of a change? I mean, the Kings should not even want RJ Barrett. Like the lack of spacing on that team already. I don't think they can afford to add RJ Barrett to that. But the Kings are stupid, so maybe they would do something like that. But hey, I agree. Consolidating RJ's talent into more depth, high-end depth, would be great. It's just what team is out there that's going to give us that for RJ Barrett? Like, the interest levels out there seem low. If they weren't low, I think he would have already been traded. Spartan Thorn says, I think they're well into the top 6, not like barely 6 seed bordering play-in. They would keep their team as is. That's I don't think so. Unfortunately, I just don't think so. Hey, let's look at the teams that are projected to pay the tax. Which NBA teams are paying luxury tax? Okay, there is apparently a spot rack, whatever, spot track. Anyways, a spot track team tracker. So teams in the tax, let's sort by their tax bill. Raptors are only slightly into the tax, granted. Rodgers can afford that, I promise you. Let's look at the caliber of teams that are up here. So Cleveland, wow, Cleveland have a fat tax bill. Where are the Clippers? Clippers usually have a higher tax bill. They've done well with their finances recently. So Cleveland are projected 1 seed in the East. Golden State have an insanely rich ownership group who makes an insane amount of money off of their venue and still believe they're a contender. So they overpay, but that's the mindset. Dallas were in the finals a couple of years ago. I know they traded Luka, but they still add on big contracts. Boston were champions 2 years ago. Have cut a lot of money, to be fair. The Knicks want to win the East. They want to be a contender. The Timberwolves want to be a contender. The Lakers are the Lakers and always think they'll be contenders. The Clippers have the richest owner in the league. The Sixers, I know they're coming off a bad year, but we're trying to be contenders before that, and Paul George makes too much money. Houston, 2 seed last year, probably top 4 seed this year. Orlando, cheap tax bill, but that's a top 6 team in the East. Phoenix have royally screwed their finances, so that's why they're a little bit up. But these are the type. I mean, it's mostly teams who think they can contend. Like the teams outside of the tax bracket. I mean, it's just a joke that OKC aren't. It's just because they have so many rookie contracts. Other than that, I don't think there's like a serious contender here who is outside the tax. There's no like even kind of contender here outside the tax. Like I know Indiana were in the finals, but Halliburton's out for the season, so they aren't. Other than OKC, of course. They're just not. I just don't see the Raptors. I know they can afford. I just don't see the Raptors doing it though. I just don't. So I still think it's. Oh, sorry, I read that already. How far do you guys think? I mean, how far do we think the Raptors will go this year? What is your genuine expectation for the team this season? Atlanta probably top 4 seed in the East. Oh, you know what? I slept on them a bit. You're probably right. I think they are a dark horse to come out of the East, a la Indiana last season. They're just such a. I'm just so excited to watch the defense of that team, and the size and switchability of that team on offense next to Trae Young. I think that's gonna be so entertaining to watch. Atlanta's a team to watch out for. The business they've done in the last 2 years to turn this thing around after the disaster of the DeJounte Murray trade is impressive. I agree. Atlanta, you know what? Our team that maybe could be in the tax but aren't. But they're just getting there, to be fair. They're just getting to being good this year. For years, Rogers' phone bill has been a pain in my rear end. You and me both. And for a while, it was the Wi-Fi bill. I switched off Rogers recently, and now paying a lot to the other one. Not paying all the money just for Rogers to be cheap on a potentially really good team we haven't had in a long time. Well, if the team is as good as you say they are, and Abaji is as important as he could be, then it would fucking sting to be cheap at the deadline. I agree. But we're talking about Rogers here. They're full of fucking scumbags. Do we put it past Ed Rogers to be a scumbag when it comes to saving money for the sporting organization? No. Like, we are not going to put that past him. He would absolutely be cheap. Absolutely. Team just signed Ochai Abaji to a minimum deducted tax if he wants to plant some trees on the side to take out the money. Yeah, just get him to return and just give him an endorsement deal with a fake company. You got to do it. Hey, you got to do it. I mean, I'm sure in a way every team is kind of doing something like this. It was just the way in which, like Aspiration was funded directly by Steve Ballmer at one point, which is an ugly look. But also, like, as much as it's a controversy, nothing is going to happen. Clippers aren't going to get, they're not going to lose any draft picks. Nobody's going to get suspended. Might be some fines, but, like, fuck, you don't think Steve Ballmer can afford a fine? You think any NBA owner can afford a fine? You think Kawhi Leonard can afford a fine? He was talking about like $7 million was missing from Aspiration. He's talking about, I got to check the books. $7 million? This guy saying I got to check the books? Jeez. That's crazy. All right. Another segment I have. Fun segment as we transition to some fun stuff for Friday. I've had this thought for a very long time. And I've wanted to do this for a very long time. And it's kind of out of nowhere. I want to go through every NBA logo in history, and I want to rank them based on how good they would look on a hat. As simple as that. We're going to go through all the logos, a lot of the logos of history at least. Maybe it's not the entire history. I found a tier list on tiermaker.com. It has a pretty comprehensive list. I mean, I'm pretty sure they got all the logos. They may have some missing, but I'm gonna rank them based on how good they would look on a hat. I walk into Lids, I look at that and say, damn, that's a nice hat. That's a horrible hat. And hey, speaking of hats, we've got hats. Amateur Hour Sports. We have hats just like this one. We have it in white. We have it in black. We have shirts in white. We also have stickers. Get yourself some merch by going to the Kijiji link in the description. Even with the Canada Post strike, I'm shipping stuff out. I don't go through Canada Post anyways. I'm shipping them out. I can local deliver in Toronto. Get yourself some merch to support the show. All right. Let's dive into this. Let me pull up the list, and away we go. And along the way, please send in your feedback. Please send in where you would put certain teams on this list. Okay. I think for the sake of making this list cleaner, let's do 5 tiers. Let's remove this row. So we have S tier, obviously the best of the best. We have the A tier, looks great. C looks fine. B looks fine. C doesn't look good. D is bad. And then there's the nope tier, which will be explained very early by the first 2 logos on the list. The Tri-Cities Blackhawks. Nope. Nope. Not putting that on a hat. And nope, we're not doing that one either. And hopefully the NHL follows suit. All right, now let's actually dive into the meat of this. So we've got the Milwaukee Hawks before they became the Atlanta Hawks. There's a lot of Atlanta logos, and there's a shit ton of logos, guys. So we're gonna zip through some of these. Some of these logos from like the 40s, 50s are horrendous, and all three of these fit into that tier. This one that became the St. Louis Hawks. I don't think it's horrendous, but the text underneath is kind of bad. Without the text, though, I think this one kind of goes hard. And I think that would look pretty cool on a hat. If they were to do like a throwback hat, I kind of like this one. I think it could be colored better like this one. And if it was, I think it may even be better. You know what? For the coloring, I have to give it B. If it was colored like this, it would definitely be A. This one just looks awkward. I think would look bad on a hat. The coloring on this one is horrendous. Yeah, D. This one's with the text, it's okay. It's okay. This is one of my favorite logos of all time. That is S tier. This is one of my favorite logos. I really want to get a retro Hawks jersey at some point with that logo with like the whole hawk across the chest. Great jersey. Great logo. I like it. I get how it's a little bit too complicated for something like this potentially, but for a hat, I think it would look good. I like it with the yellow accents though. I don't love it with the blue accents. In fact, I knock it all the way down to B with the blue and silver accents. Just doesn't have the same pop and zip for me as this one here. And I kind of like the current Hawks logo. I know a lot of teams are going to like the circle logos. I kind of do like the Hawks logo as it currently is. Maybe a bit too busy, so we'll put it at B. I say I don't like this one, but I like the shape. I think B is fair. All right, Celtics. Normally I reserve a spot for the Celtics because I just hate the Celtics, but I'll go a little bit here. I actually think this one is quite nice. This is obviously awful. This is like even worse because it's orange outline. This is pretty bad. Yeah, the basketball. Okay, is it that bad? Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is. With the white here, and the Boss does have a decent logo. I think, removing all bias of my hatred for that team, I think it's a decent logo. The New Jersey Americans. It was worse. That one. This is worse. This is bad. You know what? The script is kind of okay. I kind of like the script. I like it there. This is too busy, and the coloring and blocking is bad. This is nicer. You know what? I actually like that one. I like that. This is awful. Why put the state, man? That's just terrible. This is really nice. I like that one quite a lot. I'm not going to go S tier, but I do like that quite a lot. This is a solid logo. Currently, yeah, it's with the Brooklyn underneath. I don't like it as much. Just a simple B in the circle. I kind of like that. I kind of like that one, so we'll shove it in there. Charlotte Hornets, where they were previously. That is a terrible logo. That is awful. But this is S tier. That is one of the most iconic color schemes logos we've ever seen. Love that Hornet logo. Love the color scheme. That's got to be S tier. Bobcats, awful franchise, awful logos. The orange is ugly. The silver is also ugly. I think they're both going in the D tier. Current Hornets logo. Oh, we're a little bit out of order there. Oh, no, because they moved and then they're back. Anyways, the current logo, it's okay. It's okay. I'll put it B. Chicago, pretty iconic logo. A. Old Cleveland Cavaliers logo. I don't mind that. I don't mind that one. I like the kind of way. I kind of like the shaping of it, the colors, the yellow pops. I kind of like that. It's decent. I'll put that here. Old Cavs logo. That's not good. C. This, I mean, like a black border around it just doesn't make any sense. That is terrible. It's not as bad as these ones that are like so hard to even see, like this one. But it is down there for sure. Early LeBron logos. I actually kind of like these. I think this goes B. Oh shit, running out of space. Oh man, do I have to zoom more? All right. Oh, okay, let's do that. Hopefully you can still see that. This one, I actually like this one. It's not, it's probably in between B and A, but it's not as nice as these ones. So I'll still shove it down here. These ones are just, I don't really like these ones. I think we got a C for these. Yeah. Old Dallas logos with that text. That is, that's not very good. Just the M itself with the green isn't even that good either. And this is like the same. There's a lot of repeats, by the way, and I'll include this one in it. But I put a lot of the repeats down here because a lot of them are like pretty much the exact same. There's no point in ranking them twice. This Mavericks logo is a bit busy, to be honest, for a hat. If it's just like the circle with the horse, I kind of like that for like B tier. But as it is here, it's C tier. Put it there. Old Denver Rockets logo before they became the Nuggets. This one's bad. This one's flat out bad. This one, I don't know if you can see. It's a rocket dribbling a basketball in like drawn very poorly. Like, how is that an NBA team's logo? That is very, very bad. But kind of funny, so I'll put it ahead of some of the other ones. Yeah, I'll put it up there. I really like this one. This kind of UP-looking character. Shout out the Expos. I actually like this one. I think this one goes extremely hard for a hat. Yeah, telling me you wouldn't like wearing that funky character on a hat. That's actually gonna go pretty high up on my list here. I'm gonna put it there. I like that one quite a lot. This is the jerseys from this era were S tier, but the logo itself isn't great. The rainbow's nice, so I'll put it C. This color scheme of the Denver Nuggets, so I'm not a huge fan of. I do like it a lot more with the light blue. So I'll put that at the end of B tier. This is like a duplicate, so we'll get rid of that. This one, Crest. It's just a basic one. I think it's just middle of the road, C tier. I do like this one. I feel like I need another tier here. Whatever. It's already too busy. Because I like this Nuggets one, and I like this. I mean, this one's fine. I guess I kind of like it. All right, next. The Pistons have this like robot, like this Tin Man robot looking thing. It's a tin suit with like hands dribbling a basketball. I gotta say, that's pretty fucking cool. It's not cool enough to like look that good on a hat. Like, it's not A tier, but I think it's B tier. That is still pretty cool for a hat. That'd be a nice, unique piece for a hat. This one, sadly, is a lot smaller and is demoted all the way to here. But like that silver one, I do mess with a little bit. This is like the current Pistons logo. I don't like it as much as the Nuggets, so I'm gonna put it down here. Yeah, these old Pistons logos are pretty bad. Yeah, they're just gonna go down here. This one, I think it's worse than that one. I'm gonna put it there. These Pistons logos. Now these are hot. These are hot. In that color scheme with like the turquoise and the color scheme with the blue and red. That's hot. I like that. This one, probably C tier as well. All right. Warriors. Nope. Not doing that one. That one's bad. Current Golden State logo is, it's fine. C tier, like a lot of the modern logos. Not doing too much, but not making any mistakes. This one, nope. This one, nope. This one, the city, kind of bad. Yeah, kind of bad. Same with this one, and same with this one. I like this one. I really like this one. Yeah, this is similar to the Pistons one. I think that looks great on a hat. That's quality. Putting it up in the A tier. This is the current. That's a repeat. So I'll shove that down there. All right, San Diego Rockets before they became the Houston Rockets. This San Diego Rockets logo is okay. You know what? I like the mishmash of colors. I think I could give this a C. I think I could give this one a C. This is bad. I mean, you have no idea what's even going on here. This is a terrible logo. This is just terrible. I do actually quite like this Rockets one. Ooh, I don't think it's enough for A tier, but it's upper B tier. Same with this one. The idea is there, just not the right execution. I think this Rockets logo is actually pretty bad. I don't like it on hats, so this is going down to D. Same with this one. think I got to do it. All right. We're running low on space. Pacers, terrible. Still bad. Yeah, probably here. Current logo, these are more recent. These are still bad. And still bad. This one with the crest, again, I think it's a bit better. The blocking's a little bit nicer. I think that goes up to C tier. This is the Buffalo Braves. That's a pretty bad logo. D. So is that. San Diego Clippers. That's actually not that bad. We're going to put that C tier. These Clippers logos, I like that one. This one goes into B, actually. I quite like this one. This does look good for a hat. All right, I've been putting some in C that I don't mind. So let's put that one up. This one's still pretty bad. This one can go higher. Yeah, let's do that. Current Clippers logo is pretty bad, honestly. The way that's kind of framed out, that one's pretty bad. That one's pretty bad. Is it bad enough for D tier? Probably not. You know, it kind of is. For a hat, that's pretty bad. Minneapolis Lakers. That's a terrible logo. Even worse than the Pacers. I mean, it's like faded. Horrible coloring. That's bad. Down here. Current Lakers logo. I don't think it's as good as these, but it's pretty high up. And that's a repeat. So it's just no white border. But that's B tier. Grizzlies. S. S tier. Vancouver Grizzlies. Banger. Absolute banger logo. Banger jerseys. Banger color schemes. Are third on the S tier. Absolutely. These Memphis logos, they're pretty similar. Let's just make that one a repeat. This one, this is solid. B tier. B tier. All right. Let's fire through. Miami with the orange. Not for me. Current Miami is fine. B tier. This Bucks logo with a cartoon buck balancing a ball while sitting on the text. That is textbook bad logo. Purple Bucks logo goes kind of crazy. That's definitely A tier. Red, a little bit of a dip. Oh fuck, where'd it go? Where did it go? The red Bucks logo. Uh-oh. All right, it'll turn up. When it turns up, I'll put it in B tier. This one, it's again your classic modern logo. It's not trying to do too much, so it doesn't take risks. So it's fine. It's fine. Where did that red Bucks logo go? This Timberwolves logo, C. Not the cleanest graphic. This one, pretty good. I think this goes up to B, and I think this one's actually quite nice with like the better coloring. I think that actually goes up to A. Current Timberwolves, modern, low risk, meh. Get in there. Oh, it's a nope. It's definitely not a nope. Thank you. Yeah, that's a B. It's a B. I don't mind that. Okay, New Orleans Hornets. Ooh, we got a New Orleans Hornets logo. That doesn't have the same zest as the Charlotte, but I think it's still S. I love that Hornets character. I think that looks great on a hat. Current New Orleans, it's it's your classic modern. Again, B. All right, controversial. This old Knicks character, you'd think, kind of works with these ones. This, though, this logo is a heater. This logo is a heater. This, like, old-timey, like, 1800s American kind of character in the blue and orange dribbling a basketball menacingly. And it's not, like, as bad as, like, these Celtics one or this Pistons one. I'm a big fan. I would be very inclined to purchase this hat. This is going up to A. I really like that one. This Knicks logo with like the retro kind of feel. I actually do kind of like that about it. So I'm gonna put it B. This one is not as nice. I'm gonna put this C. This one's pretty bad. It's actually D. This one's decent. B. B. They made it, so that's about the same. I think this one is a bit nicer. I actually think we're going to put this one in A. I do think the Knicks logo is good on a hat. Supersonics, horrible, this one. This one's also horrible. This one's also horrible. This one is pretty good. B. This fire. S. That, like, 90s. The glove era. Banger. And this is also really nice. It's A tier, though. But this one is S tier. This one's S tier. OKC. Thunder. Solid. I don't think it fits into, like, the modern... I'm going to put it also in B tier, but I think it also fits in... I don't think it fits into that modern not taking risks, but I still think it's, like, a B tier logo. The Magic, they make good logos. I think this one's an A. I think this one's actually S. I really like that one. This one, modern. They took away the risk and put that at B. Okay. Syracuse Nationals. That's a pretty bad logo. So is that. The 76ers, this is actually decent. I think this is high B. Not as high as those. Just right there. Sixers logo here. I actually don't like this one that much. D. I don't like that one that much. This one, banger. Banger. Iverson era, banger. S tier. Hat, for sure. Square, that's bad. I mean, the square is just bad. This one, modern, low risk, low reward. Yep, B tier. Easy. All right, fire through. Suns, terrible. Awful logo. These ones kind of nice. I like this one a bit. B. Fix the coloring a bit. I still think it's B, but a bit higher B. This one got worse. The black made it worse than the purple. I think this one goes down to C, actually. Blazers, bad logo. Can barely see it. This one, a little bit better. C. This one, we'll give it C. With the rectangle, I do kind of like it. Those are C's. Like it more, at least. This one, current. If it was just, like, with the text, it's bad. If it was just that, like, you know, thing, the swigglies. I think that's actually A. With the text, though, we'll put that one B, just because of that. Rochester Royals. This one is, like, a little too plain, but C. This one's just terrible. Like a smiling basketball with, like, the crown of the city. That's bad. Old logo where it's, like, the red and blue. Terrible for the Cincinnati Royals. This is similar. This is similar. I like this one a lot. Not quite S tier, but this... You know, Peja era Kings logo. I like it. I'm a fan. Current Kings logo. Modern. Classic. C tier. That's terrible. The Chaparrals. This is the Dallas Chaparrals, I think. This is one of the worst we've seen. I think that's the second worst we've seen so far. This is up there as well. Which means that is. Then they move to San Antonio, the Spurs. Don't love that one. The pink kind of makes it better. I'll go that C. I'll move this one up to C. This one I kind of like a bit more. I'll put this B. More modern. This one I don't like as much. This one will be in C as well. All right. Now we come to Banger City. Raptors, purple. A tier. Maybe the best. Let's try to order these a bit more.
Here's what I found.
Oh, Siri. All right. Red Raptors, unfortunately, is only an A because the purple's the best. Current Raptors logos, unfortunately, are just, you know, the classic modern B tier logo. Easy. Jazz, as the text, not good. C, also not good. This one's better. This is A for me. I like the color scheme as well on this one. Try to order these a bit better. Like that one, like that one. Sonics. I'll put that over here. I'll move that. All right. No, move that back. Bucks a bit forward. All right, let's do that. This Jazz logo, a little bit worse, but still pretty good. Upper B. And this one, the color scheme kind of lets down a bit, but still B. Lower B, though. Oh, I put this one in B by accident. This is C, unfortunately. This Jazz logo, I hate it with the blue. It's bad. I think it's bad. This one, just a fucking note. That is bad. All right, the Zephyrs. I don't know what this is. This is a terrible logo. This might be the worst. You know, it's not as bad as O2. It goes there. Baltimore Bullets. Awful logo. Like, who was designing these? Why is the text so small? And then, like, there's all these bullets. These are a lot of duplicates. Let's just do one blue, one orange. They both suck. This Wizards logo with the blue, I like it. I actually think it looks okay on a hat. B, I don't like the red. I don't like a shift to red. I think this goes down to D. And the final one for the list. Well, what would we be without a modern logo that looks like a circle, that looks fine, but isn't taking a lot of risks? And there you have it. I'm going to reorder the A tier to my liking. And this got to be higher. And we'll keep it there. And that will be it. All right. Think I am pretty happy with that. Yeah, there is the S tier logos for a hat. Purple Raptors, Vancouver Grizzlies, Dikembe Mutombo Atlanta Hawks, Shaq Magic, the glove era Supersonics, like even before, I think it's around Sean Kemp era, maybe a little bit before. AI Sixers, Chris Paul Hornets, or like Muggsy Bogues Hornets, if you want to call it that. That is it. What do you guys think? Let me know. And that'll do it for the stream today. Hopefully a little bit of fun with the additional content that we have. Hopefully you guys enjoyed a fun little tier list like that. But that'll do it for the show today, guys. Friday. You know, it's Friday. Good vibes. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy your Friday night. I've got some plans to get some tacos and beer tonight. Two of my favorite things in the world, taco and beer. Tacos and beer. So it's going to be fun for me. Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern, we're back on the Raptors Happy Hour. And, hey, you might just catch me at 10 p.m. Eastern as well for the Raptors game against the Denver Nuggets. Who knows? Maybe I'll be there. But hey, you'll see me Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You'll see me for a lot of Raptors games. You'll see videos coming out with some of the best stream clips and highlights from the channel. But that'll do it for me today, guys. Hope you all have a great weekend. Hope you all have a great Friday. You've been watching the Raptors Happy Hour. Drop a like before you head out. Subscribe for more content just like it. And I will see you again very,